It's very fitting for it. Let's check this out. I even got the 2025 on a flatbed here in the background.
Perfect.
It's perfect to talk about this. Nate's here again from NextGen. Nate, thanks for joining us, because most of us can't discern what's going on with these TSBs, and the latest TSB from General Motors, DCS 7228 code. I don't know if you want to start at the top here. And I had a question for you initially, which was, why are they only including the 2024 Silverados and Sierras and only the 1500s in this TSB?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I'm very thankful to be back. The reason I believe that they're only including that narrow scope of vehicles is because those are the ones they see that seem to be having the problem. And instead of analyzing what the problem is and what vehicles have that defective componentry, they're just asserting the ones that have the issue. This is a common behavior that we see from large OEMs. So, for example, the rear wheel locking up recall, that initially was only certain years and certain 10-speed Allisons, and we've now seen that expand and metastasize to several 100,000 vehicles, almost 1 million vehicles at this point. And if you folks remember, I was on record in the very beginning saying they're going to expand the recall to way more vehicles. It's not just these. They're going to expand it to any vehicle that has the components that cause the problem. So although this is a TSB and not a recall, I'm predicting right now that they're going to expand this to cover additional vehicles.
Okay. So when I started looking at this, I just did a video on it yesterday, and I don't understand enough about it. So I don't know if you want to start out with, okay, you designed a freaking kit that fixed these problems before this TSB came out. So I don't know if you want to go through like the check balls and the separator plate and all the things that they're replacing here and why.
Sure. So I have a lot of information to answer your question, so it's probably going to be a long-winded response, but it's all really useful. So here's the first thing you need to know. The P2732 code is almost never, not never, but almost never caused by this specific problem. If you look up P2700 complex codes, it's basically anything pressure switch and anything solenoid. Now, there are a couple different versions of these codes. You have stuck on, stuck off, performance, control circuit, things like that, low, high, etc. And the P2732, and this is kind of common on Toyota products, ironically, is a performance code. It says solenoid F, but sometimes the letters do not correspond with the names of the clutch pack according to the manufacturer. So sometimes F might mean A or B might mean D and stuff like that, but that's not relevant to the point. The P2732 code is almost always caused by a clutch fill data issue. Now, clutch fill data is how the computer monitors how much oil it took to turn a clutch on. And it uses this information to calculate shift timing as part of the adaptive learn system. The way this system works is to monitor the period of time, to quantify, usually in milliseconds, how long it took from the time that the solenoid that controls oil flow into that clutch pack was energized to when the speed sensor sees that clutch pack actually in a synchronous state. This window of time is known as the shift time. And it tries to control when it executes that shift to optimize for a healthy shift that's reliable and not aggressive. Now, the 2732 code almost always means that the clutch fill data or the clutch volume indexes, whatever you're seeing in the technical manual you're looking at, were above the expected threshold and above the maximum allowable figure. I believe it can also come on if it's below, but I've never seen that. That's hyper rare. There are very few problems that will cause the computer to see too little clutch fill data or a CVI that's too low. That is almost associated almost every time with somebody recently rebuilding the transmission and doing a poor job and not clearancing things properly, packing a clutch pack too tight, a clutch pack dragging, things like that. It's very rare that it's anything else. So the fact that they're trying to change a check ball and a separator plate just proves that they have no idea how their own transmission works, like I've been saying from day one.
Wow. That's are these parts, if you're getting them from the OEM, are they pretty inexpensive? I've tried to research these 5 check balls, and they're about, $10 or $15. Is this the least expensive fix they could try to do to get people through warranty, or why wouldn't they be looking at the valves as well if they're kind of the root cause?
So this whole thing just proves me right again. I said the last time I was here on your channel that they don't care about fixing the problem. They care about performing palliative care, basically patient comfort, until you get out of warranty and then charging you for the repair. And this proves it. And I'll show you why that is. The check balls almost never cause the code. That's problem number one. But let's give them credit that they're trying to fix anything. And let's analyze what the whole check ball separator plate crisis is. I'll tell you exactly what's failing here. The check balls are damaging the separator plate. They say it's that the check balls are wearing down and that the separator plate's damaging them or something. That's totally misinformative. That's just General Motors either lying or not knowing what they're talking about. That's Tuesday in America at this point, in my opinion. Let me give you guys a reference for where this problem was first documented, at least in mass production. The automotive industry first started talking about this whole check ball separator plate crisis in the 80s with Jeep. That was the first major example of this. I'm sure that these issues existed before, but that was the first really, really big deal. The problem was on the 42 and 44 RE four-speed torque flight transmissions. It's basically torque flight 727 with an overdrive in the back that was used in many Jeep models at the time. And the issue they were having is a paper-thin separator plate and a steel check ball in the reverse circuit. And what was happening, and I sent you some pictures of this, maybe you can stitch them in, it might be a good visual aid. It was damaging the separator plate and it was generating a bang into reverse. So when you would move the mechanical column from park to reverse, there'd be a delay and then an aggressive bang as that low reverse band tried to grab the drum. When this was happening, it was because the separator plate was damaged, because the separator plate is about as thin as some construction paper. This is no different. When I invented the separator plate that we designed that prevents this problem, the thickest one you can make where the filter will not suck air from moving down, it's the thickest one that will ever exist. I designed it partially to make sure the check balls could not harm the plate. The check balls are usually not what wears down. If you see the check ball becoming oblong or elliptical in shape, that's usually due to the transmission overheating at some point rather than the check ball itself being defective. The check balls are made of a material that is trade name Torlon. What it actually is something called a polyamide imidized polymer. I'd like to see one of the flat earthers that was all butthurt about the previous video spell that. I'm so serious. And maybe they can explain how a magnet works too. But they're called PAIs, right? And what this is, if you're a chemistry buff, is a couple of benzene rings chained together, basically. Some of these polymers have a methyl group. There's usually some nitrogen atoms in there, but if you know anything about chemistry, a benzene ring is extremely hard to break apart because it's 6 carbon atoms that are 120 degrees apart, with all of them having a single hydrogen bond sticking off of them. It's very hard to damage or break apart a benzene ring. And so the material that these balls are made from is very, very strong. It's uncommon that they will experience problems, even though they're not the steel ones. So when you experience this issue, it's usually because the separator plate sucks and not because the ball does. Now, the reason the separator plate sucks is they're stamped steel. In fact, some people dispute this. Look at the TSB. They're saying that the problem is that the separator plate is misstamped. No, the problem is that it's stamped at all. Ours is laser cut. You need a very, very powerful fiber laser to blow through that much metal with that kind of tolerance. The reason they stamp them is you can make one tool and make hundreds of thousands of plates off that tool, and all of them are going to suck. They're going to be paper thin. They're going to be asymmetrical on both sides. You might have a hole that's bigger on one side of the plate than the other if you look at it with a microscope and things like that. The quality is going to be poor, but that's okay because they're going to make them for like $4 a piece. That's what happens. I manufacture separator plates. I have a whole team of people who specialize in lasers. We contract with them. I know all about this market, and I can tell you, to make separator plates at the scale that General Motors operates at, hundreds of thousands or even millions at a time, could be done for not significantly more. The issue is that clearly they don't want to do things correctly. This further proves that I am correct when I say they don't want to fix the problem. They want to get you out of warranty and then charge you for the repair, Land Rover style, in my opinion.
Do you think this just replacing the separator plate with what presumably is just what they already had in there
Yeah.
is going to just get people past that 60,000 mile warranty, because they also state they're not going to warranty this past. So once your warranty's out at 60,000 miles, the TSB is invalid. You're going to be on the hook for any repairs like this.
So this is what's called symptom mitigation. It's not about fixing the problem. It's about minimizing the symptoms until you're liable for the repair. I
Yeah.
can guarantee you that if you have a 2732 code and your fluid looks bad and the transmission doesn't run right and you're out of warranty and you go to a GM franchise, a dealership, they will be more than happy to tell you what you actually need, which is a new transmission. This is the game that they continue to play. The intent is to get you out of warranty and then charge you for the repair. I've been saying this from day one. A lot of people dispute that, but I continue to get proven correct. Sorry, it's a bit windy and I have girl hair apparently. This is the stuff that they continue to do. When I call this the Land Rover mentality, I'm not trolling people. I'm not picking on, well, actually, I am picking on Land Rover. They suck and they deserve it. But what I'm saying is, this is what Land Rover and Jaguar do, and the whole industry is starting to do it. Sell you something for an overpriced MSRP, make sure it sucks in every way possible, nurse you until you're out of warranty, and then recapitalize you through service and repair. That is the head game.
Is any part of this this slight rebuilding of the valve bodies due to the fact that they actually can't supply enough full valve body replacements? Yeah.
I guarantee it. You know what they're doing? I guarantee you what they're doing is they cannot provide enough valve bodies because they need thousands and thousands of them at any given moment. They can't make them enough. Okay. They know that the ones coming off the assembly line are terrible. Some people tried to tell me, oh, hey, Nate, you know, they updated the new valve body. They don't need your kit anymore. That's hilarious because there are 2025s calling us next day airing 10 or 20 of these damn things. I mean, come on, grow the hell up. They're not going to fix this. They didn't fix the 700R4. They didn't fix the 6L50. They didn't fix the 8L45. They're not going to fix the 10L80, 10-speed Allison, whatever the hell they want to call it. They're not going to fix them. They don't care. That's not the incentive. But yeah, again, this is all, and I'm going to say it again. I'm always going to harp on the same point because it's true. I've heard it out of people's mouths directly. I know it to be a definitive fact. They want to get you out of warranty and charge you for the repair.
Where do you think it's going to go with this TSB? Do you think it's going to be expanded? Do you think that, I mean, if the 2025 still continue to have, let's say it's 15% of new trucks have a problem before 100,000 miles, which is a huge number.
Yeah.
Especially for how many they sell. That'd be a massive number. If they continue on that path, I mean, what's the end game? Do they just keep doing it? Do people just have to stop buying their trucks in order to fix this problem? Is that the only way to fix this behavior from manufacturers?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. I don't mean to blame the victims, but I'm just being honest. Every time you go give an OEM $100,000+ or whatever you spent on a new car with this sort of garbage in it, you are proof of concept that they can stick it in your backside and you will moan and say, yes, daddy, and give them your money. It's proof because they make this garbage stuff and people continue to give them their money. So why would they stop? There's no amount of protesting or arguing on the internet that's going to change that. I try to tell people every day of my life, don't buy a new car. If you want them to make a better car, you need to protest in the only way that they actually hear and understand, and it is financially. If everybody said, we're done, they would be forced to do something differently, or it would be the end of these brands, providing the government doesn't baby them like they did in the whole cash for clunkers era. Okay? These are giant scams, in my opinion. And the other thing that you should know when you talk about recalls are administered by the NHTSA. The NHTSA is a gigantic revolving door with the automotive industry. And if you don't believe me, look up people that work there on LinkedIn. Okay, don't harass them or anything, but look them up. Look them up, and you'll see a giant chunk of them. I actually did this recently. A giant chunk of them are trial attorneys and chief legal officers and things like that at these big automotive manufacturers. One of them was a CLO at Kia, for years. Well, and now they work at NHTSA. So now let me ask you this. What happens when she is expected to go castigate and flog the ass cheeks of Hyundai or Kia You think she's going to treat them impartially? Or you think she's going to walk in there and fist bump her old friends and be like, look, just do this and I won't say nothing? There's a conflict of interest. The organization is ran by lawyers, nepotists, and bureaucrats, in my opinion. And I know that they watch these videos because after the last video, I got nothing but threats and angry phone calls to my sales line, to my staff members saying that guy needs to shut up. He's talking too much. You don't know what might happen to him if he doesn't stop. Look, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but do something.
You actually sent me something on a guy that was basically going through the Facebook groups and saying that your product is subpar and it doesn't work.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, where did he work again?
So that Michael guy works at Borg Warner.
Yeah.
Google Borg Warner General Motors. Google it. Borg Warner is one of their biggest suppliers for transmission parts.
Yeah.
Of course you think our parts don't work. Every time someone buys our parts, they don't buy yours. Plot twist. He's in sales. He loses money when people shop at NextGen. Of course he thinks we suck. That's like asking Walmart what they think of Target. I'm telling you, the automotive deep state is real. Why do you think I get death threats? Because I'm calling it out and I'm done covering for these people. I don't give a shit. You know where to find me. Do something.
So I don't know that we can. Is there anything more that you want to talk about on this TSB?
Yeah. Well, look, if everything I said was a lot to take in, here's what you need to know about the TSB. Like every other TSB ever, it's not going to permanently fix the problem. It's going to provide comforting care until you're out of warranty and they can charge you for the repair. General Motors knows better. They're doing this because it's the cheapest way to abate the symptoms. And then the moment it blows up, when you're past the 60,000 mile mark, you get to give them your money all over again and recapitalize, even if you're not buying another car, in my opinion. That's all you need to know. If you remember the golden rule, they're just trying to get you out of warranty so they can charge you for repairs because there's more money in service and repairs than there are in actually selling or leasing the car. As long as you remember that rule, the Land Rover mentality, you will know why these vehicles are going to continuously get worse. That's the golden rule, in my opinion.